So I'm pretty excited today. We're here with Scot Prohaska. He's the VP of Athlete Development here at Stark, and he's also the head strength and conditioning coach at Mater Dei for their football program. I want to explore what he does with his athletes. It's just phenomenal to watch. I got to sit on the sidelines 2 weeks ago when they played the number one team in the nation and actually dominated them. It was really cool to see their strength, their speed, their power really come into play. What we got to say? Mater Dei, what was the record last year?
4-6, and they were
4-6?
ranked. Ended up 403rd in the nation ranked last year.
And what are they, 6-2 right now?
6-2 and ranked probably 21 in the nation right now.
Yeah, it's a nice little shift. So Scott, first off, I just want to kind of get an idea. I get to train Coach Rollinson, so I get to hear all his concerns as he's going through stuff with you. First off, there was no running in the preseason with these kids. Coach Rollinson had the hardest time with that because he's usually burying those kids running into the ground. Give me a little reason why you don't believe in running leading into a season.
Well, that's one of the biggest things I changed at Mater Dei. They had so much running in their program for fear that they weren't going to be in shape. But coming off the season, you got to understand that these kids have lost muscle mass. Their ankles are really tight. Their hip flexors are really tight. So why am I going to run them and beat these joints up even worse than they already are and risk losing more muscle? So I pulled that out of the program. There was no running or jumping for the first 2 months.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty funny how much he struggled with that.
Yeah, he wasn't happy. He was very nervous, biting his nails a lot the first 2 months. But
the other thing that's interesting, injuries have been really low for them.
Yeah,
that's something the coach keeps talking to me about every week. Is how excited he is about that. The common injuries are gone. The hip flexor strains, the hamstring tears, the things that kind of dominate high school football, or basically not dominate, but plague high school football. And I talked to Coach, and I mean I know what you're doing, but you're crushing these guys in the weight room.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of taking precedence. What are some of the things you're doing with them in season to keep their strength? That most coaches will just avoid the hell out of it because they're afraid, oh my gosh, they're getting hurt here. I can't get them in the weight room. They might get hurt again.
Yeah. Well, I think first is setting the expectation. Having an expectation, knowing, we've been doing this a lot of years, and knowing that an athlete can keep muscle mass on, can actually put on muscle during the season if you do the right things, if they eat right and train vigorously. So the expectation was set for these boys to not lose anything less than 3 pounds of lean muscle. So once that expectation was set, then I was able to really push them in the weight room and maintain that muscle or try to build it.
Yeah. What are some of the tricks you use, not tricks, but methodology you use to prevent, let's say, hamstring tears? Because I know that one plagues. I remember when I played in high school and college, it just plagued us.
Yeah.
What are you doing different? What's one example of something you do different from a common, let's say, CS strength coaching regimen?
Yeah, well, I think with hamstrings, it's all about the hips. It's all about keeping the hips balanced and making sure the guys are loading properly. We're very hands-on with watching the technique of the guys, and just because you're squatting, just because you're deadlifting, doesn't mean you're loading the right area. So these guys are constantly being cued to load their glutes, load their hamstrings the right way, and I think that really helps. And then keeping the hips balanced. We do a lot of myofascial stretching and stuff after a leg day to keep those hips set in the right position.
So there you have it. Remember, the empowered athlete is the dominating athlete.
The coolest little gym in America.